colors. So I have red, green.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, they're here.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, you go ahead with the colors.
Red. Okay. So we have green, white, blue. So you can use whatever blue you have. Yellow and brown.
And if they don't have brown, they can mix the brown, right?
I have a new student here. My dad. Do introductions.
Your audio is breaking up, Ken.
Explain.
Ken, your audio is breaking up. Darlene,
He's 88 years old.
Darlene, your audio is breaking up. I can't hear you. Okay.
Okay, so I think we'll just continue here. Today's reference is really, really simple. So this is today's reference. Yellow. Turn off the light so that you guys can see.
Beautiful picture. Very nice.
So this is really a simple reference. It's just a basic landscape.
Actually, I muted it.
Okay.
It's not muted now because there's so confusion here. Nobody's hearing anything. So I just need someone to introduce my dad. Like maybe start the class with a little easier when you gotta do.
Is I'm not sure who's speaking right now, but the audio is breaking up. So if you would like, you can go ahead and just type it in the chat, or you can probably send an email to somebody. So May, I'm assuming you have her email. But other than that, I think we will just continue here. So you guys can take a picture of the reference if you would like. It is very simple. It's really just, today we're just really gonna focus on putting in the clouds, making this ombre sky. And yeah, we're really just focusing on the sky today and the rest of it. So I'll leave this up for a minute or so for everybody to go get their supplies. And if you are new to this class, don't worry, everything will be explained step by step. And if you have any questions, you can either turn on your mic or pop it in the chat. Oh, and I forgot to mention, but you need a palette or something to hold the paint. If you don't have a palette, you can use a plate, you can use a paper towel, basically any surface that you have lying around that you don't mind getting dirty, and you need a bucket of water. And the brushes I'm using today are, I think I will just do this large flat one. And this smaller round one. And as always, my detail brush. There's that guy. So your detail brush. If you're new and you're looking for one of these guys, if you contact May, she has these ones at her house, I believe. They're like 45 cents each or something. Okay. So I'll leave this up for another, I'm going to say 10 seconds. So if you haven't taken a picture and you really are dying to take a picture of this, do it right now. Okay. So let's get started. With acrylic, we can sketch first, just because the paint will cover all of our markings anyways. So let's sketch first. Okay, so let's imagine that our page is split up into 3 sections. So you have the top third, the middle third, and the bottom third. The first thing we do is mark out our horizon line here. So it's going to be the bottom third of the page. So that's where your horizon line is. So roughly you can just draw a line across the page. You don't need to measure it or anything. It doesn't really matter that much. Canvas doesn't like to erase very well. Something like that. And then you just want to mark out where the river ends. So it's going to be a little off to the side here. So it's not in the middle. It's just a little bit off the middle. And you can put it anywhere, either side. Okay. Once we have that mark, we're just going to mark out the rest of the river. So I'm going to put a mark around here and probably one, it just goes to the very end. So the shape of the river, the perspective kind of goes in like this and then it narrows out. So the shape of it is really wide and then it narrows. So basically you're just going to create a giant curve here. So starting from this mark, and you're just going to create a line here. Something like that, just mark it out. And then the same thing for this one. So you're going to go, I would say about halfway. So you're gonna go about halfway here. Start creating the curve. So when I say halfway, I mean halfway between this land. So this is the halfway point would be around here. That's where you're gonna start creating the curve. And then we just meet up to that point. So we're going to create these little bays. They're kind of C-shaped right here. So you can see these little bays. And then you're gonna meet up that other end. So it's fairly simple. So fairly simple. And then you can add in these little structures and things in the back, but you can always do it later. You don't have to do it right now. Right, you can make up things that don't exist. For example, let's say you want to add a fence here or a cow here or something. Feel free to do that as well. And then there's just one more thing to mark out are these chunks of trees. So the way I'm going to do this is first, okay, let's create a trunk for this tree. And then I'll just leave it because it's going to get covered with paint. So this is 2 trees. When you're drawing trees, they're not really straight. They're kind of more curvy. So a way you can do it is hold the pencil by the end and kind of just drag it up like that. That way it ensures you naturally have less control over how straight your line is, and you end up creating a more natural looking tree. So try it when you're sketching. And then we'll do the same for these ones. These ones can be a little more straight because they are far away. And then there's a grouping of trees here. So just mark these things out. Just tell yourself, okay, I know there's a clump of something here. I know there's a clump of something here. And I know there's something probably around there. So I'll just leave everybody for a minute here to make sense of where things are going to be. And I really challenge you to add some additional things. For example, you can add a bush in the foreground or a branch coming out or whatever you like. You can even make a bridge here or a bridge in the back. So I really challenge you to create those extra things and try things out. Because it is a simple landscape. There's so much room for you to be inserting things. And then after this, we will start actually mixing up the paint. Okay, let's get started with mixing the paint. I just realized for clouds, we are using the dry brush technique. So what that means is it will be extra helpful for you if you have two brushes, which I think everybody has more than one, because we go in with the wet one and then we go and blend it with the dry one. So let's get started on the background here, the sky. So I'm going to be mixing a light blue. I'm making a gradient, but basically all I'm using is white and my blue here. I think I'll use phthalo today. Phthalo blue. If you don't have phthalo blue, it doesn't really matter. Just use whatever blue you have. Okay. And as always, we go through way too much white. So I like phthalo for skies. Okay, so then you're gonna go in mostly white and mix up a couple of different colors here. So I only used the tiniest amount of blue. You really don't need that much of it. So just the tiniest amount. And you're gonna mix that up.
The one that we are using mixing, it's the wet brush?
Yeah,
or
that's the wet
dry
one,
brush?
right?
The wet
Yeah,
one.
the dry one, just don't do anything with it right now. The wet brush is the one with the paint, like that you're using to mix the paint. This paint, typically we don't add water to. It's not watercolor, it's supposed to be thick. So you're just gonna mix this. Honestly, I would say try not to mix it that well. I think it's a lot more interesting if there's different gradients in it. So yeah, it's like frosting, right? So you don't need to mix it that well. Okay, and then on the side, prepare plain white. Prepare just some plain white. And don't mix anything into the white. Just make it plain. That's going to be for the clouds that you're going to be adding on top. Okay. So because acrylic dries pretty fast, you have to work quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling this in my background. And there's pretty much no mistakes in acrylic. You can cover up almost anything with more paint. So just put it in there, work it in. And as you get lower, you use less blue and more white. Okay, so you're gonna start taking the white and adding that on the bottom. So that's gonna be on the bottom here. But I'm gonna get my blue in there first. The top. So just work that in. That whatever I just did is actually horrible practice. You're not supposed to scrub the canvas like that, but I tend to beat up these old brushes. Okay, and then this is pretty dry. So I've gotten most of my paint out of there, and I'm going to dip this in my white and use that for the rest of the sky. So if you see, just covering the bottom with my white while everything is still pretty wet, so then I can blend it in. And then for the sky, for the blending here, I'm just going side to side. Try to cover all of this. And then you get something like this. Something like that. So I'll just wait for everybody to finish this part before I move on to my clouds. When you're done this part, feel free to clean off your brush so you can wash it and then make sure you dry it. I'm just adding a bit more white. This is too blue. Okay, so I will start mixing for these clouds here. So the clouds are a mixture of gray and white. So you'll need white, and we'll need to create like a light gray. I like to make my grays by mixing brown and blue. However, I know that a lot of you don't have brown, so you can add white to black. We usually don't use black, but that would be easier. Or you can make brown. So I'll actually show you how to make brown. Oh my goodness. To make brown, you are supposed to mix equal parts red and green. This is supposed to make brown, but sometimes you have to adjust it a little bit. Out, please. And again, the easiest way to make that gray for the clouds is just to mix black and white. So there's several ways you can go about doing it. Just gonna go in with a dry old brush. See? That needs more red. That's brown. So equal parts green and red creates brown. I need a page so I can show everybody. There we go. See this. It's a little bit purpley. I think it needs more green. It's a little bit tricky because you have to work out the balance. You have to work out the balance of green to red to create the brown color. Sometimes it goes a little bit purpley depending on how you're mixing it. Anyways.
Sorry, Jenny, I had a phone call. So now you're mixing the brown with the green, isn't it?
Oh, just use brown. Do you have brown?
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
That's
I missed because the phone rings. So sorry. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I actually am mixing the brown with the blue. I'm just making gray. Yeah. So obviously you can use your normal, oops. That's okay, it'll be covered. So obviously you can use black, add white to it, it'll make gray. I just happen to really enjoy that, this blue gray color. So when you mix blue and brown together like this, it makes a color called Payne's gray, which is my favorite for skies. And you're probably thinking, why don't I just put some white and black? Why am I making this color? This color has it has more depth in it. It just looks, in my opinion, it looks better. Okay, let's go into our clouds now. So I have my white and I have my dark shadow color. That's what I'm just gonna call it because some people are using normal gray. And then what I'm going to do, so this part, please watch carefully. This part is important. I'll demonstrate with some of the clouds up here. So I'm gonna take my white, put a little bit of pigment onto the canvas. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab a dry, clean brush. So this can be any dry, old, gross, clean brush, as long as it's clean and mostly dry. And then I'm gonna go in and I am going to rub circles like this. And then you can see my clouds are coming. So I know this corner has more. And the idea is you keep layering the clouds on. You can keep the white more intense in certain areas. So you can play with it and see what you like. But this is the general idea of what I'm doing here. So I need to continue this down here. It's really important to get to it before it dries. So don't leave this clump here to dry. Make sure you go in and you blend those out immediately. We'll go over here. Oh, that's too much paint. So you don't need very much paint. I'm trying to make this cloud over here. Oh my goodness, folks, I totally forgot about this river. So this river is also blue. We should have made this blue while we were doing the sky. It should have been done together, but I forgot about it. So, ooh, is that so dark? So I'm going to go in and quickly do that. My apologies, I totally forgot about this. Hopefully you still have some of that sky blue hanging out on your palette. Okay, so I'm gonna go in. I've made my blue again, and I'm just gonna throw that in there at the bottom. And this stuff is more white, so. Again, I'm gonna go in with my white. I'm gonna go in with my white and blend it out. So you're gonna have something like this. Hooray! Totally forgot about that. That's no worries though. And back into the sky. Back up here into the sky. I'm gonna place down my white. It's like frosting a cake. And then dry brush. Why is this so muddy? Okay. And my apologies for having to demo so quickly, but my paint, like you look away for 3 seconds and it's dry. So I have to move quickly, but I will give everybody some time to work after this. Okay, but before we do that, I just want to show everybody how to put the shadows in. Same technique. So you're gonna grab some of your dark shadow color, whatever it is. Your gray color. And then what you're going to do, same technique, add it in the bottoms of the clouds. So you're gonna add a little bit and blend it out using the dry brush. Be careful to not add too much. You don't need very much. So that looks too much. If you add too much like this, just add more white. Yeah, it's pretty easy to add too much of the shadows. This picture doesn't really have a lot of them, so you don't need that much. And then go in, you blend it out. So again, I'm just moving in kind of little oval circles. And you just want to work pretty fast before all of this dries. Okay. And then if it's too dark, you know, just add a little bit. Oh, add a little bit more white. So I'm just going in with more white. Texture is so fun. So you get something like that. And then you'll want to replicate that in the bottom here. So there's a couple of clouds in the bottom with that. Oops, wrong brush. Oh well, we'll just use that one. There's a couple of clouds here in the bottom. I think that needs more white. I'm just gonna add some more white to the bottom. And then you're just gonna go and create some of those cloud textures in the bottom as well to match the top. It's like a mirror. And then I'll just give everybody some time to work on this just because I know that the sky is very time consuming. If you want, now is a great time to add in some of those reflections. You can also do it later, but because you have your shadow color with you already, now is a great time if you want to add in some of the reflections there. Another area where it would be great to add right now are the side banks. So while you have your dark color mixed, you can actually go in and paint out these side banks, or where the shadows are. You can kind of sketch them out for yourself. So they start off really thick and then they get pretty narrow. You might want to use a thinner brush for that. And then this side doesn't seem to start until you get around the curve here. There's like a little bit of shadow right there, but most of it is around the curve here. So you can mark out that area if you want. Okay, now I will give everybody some time. I think this painting would work better in oil painting, actually. I always think painting is easier when you have several colors and several things, happening on a palette at once, especially acrylic painting, because it dries so quickly that I find it's about layering for acrylics. It doesn't blend as well as oil. So in the meantime, I just want to mix up this green. So it looks like it'll be green, a bit of yellow. Let's see, green, yellow, and a bit of brown if you have it. That's what I'm just gonna squeeze out. I have green, yellow, and brown. Don't forget the white. You always need white for whatever reason. This is like my 5th or 6th lifetime supply giant tube of white. I go through one of these every couple of months. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, mix some grass color. If you find it's too neon like this is really bright. It's very neon. Add a bit of brown to darken it. You can also add a bit of blue and see if it brings the neonness down. So you don't want fluorescent. So try to make several shades of green. Just mix the colors around until you end up creating different shades of green. Okay. So I've got darker, I would say more olive green, a light green, and a typical grass green. Oops, just made that really light. And I just want to start placing that in, keeping in mind there's areas where it's lighter. For example, this bank is mostly dark green, and this bank is mostly light green. So I'm just gonna go in. See, I told you it would be covered. Just gonna go into this bank and fill it in. Just gonna go ahead, fill it in. I think I made way too much green. This canvas is tiny. Other side is the same. So the other side doesn't actually have a lot of light green. It just has a couple of these horizontal lines coming across and a couple of lighter areas in the corner here. And the rest of it is pretty dark. So I'm gonna go in with the darker green. Just fill in some of this. between. I'm not going to blend this because I actually really enjoy this type of look. Sorry, everybody. Shh. He thinks it's his job to tell me that there's kids outside. Yes. Shh. There's kids. But he is more effective than a home alarm system. So I'm just gonna go in. Okay, so you can see how I've added a bit of dark green to the side. And I'm basically just drawing in the shadows of the trees. And then now I'm going in with a bit more yellow. because some of these areas are quite yellow. Like for example, the grass bank here is quite yellow. And this one has to extend more. So this one needs to extend almost all the way down. And we'll give everybody some time to work on this part, and then we will move on to our trees and other things. So I mixed a bit of white into my green, and I'm just, I'm just adding in a bit of light green in certain areas. So I know the picture doesn't show it, but on my painting, I want to create the illusion of some texture, some grass. So I'm gonna go in and just gently tap. See if I can get a little bit of grass happening. And those people who do hyperrealism, they do those landscapes that you might see on YouTube. Their paintings, they actually use a really skinny brush, and then they draw in each individual grass, which takes a lot of time. So we'll be doing that here. This is pretty much as detailed as we'll go today. If you have time, you can go in with your skinny brush, drawing the grass. You're like, gee, I have nothing to do with my next 2 hours or so. And this is kind of nice as it is. It's a pretty simple painting. So you can keep working away at it as it is, or you can join me as I add some stuff in the background. So first things first, I'm going to mark out a couple of shadows so I know somewhere over here, because I drew this in my sketch, that there is going to be a couple of shadows. Somewhere over there. Maybe along the bank here. So I'm just grabbing my darker color. I'm trying to put it, oh, that's pretty blue, that's okay. I'm trying to make that bank look like it's coming out. Blue is okay as well. And there's some blue, some dark shadow color over here as well. And then with any dark color, it can be anything, go ahead and try to sketch out that tree. So you can use any color you have on your page. So I'm gonna go ahead, start about here, and just begin to sketch out my tree. Again, you can add some water to make it flow better. So this is just a sketch. Can add a couple of branches. And there's another tree behind that one. And you might be thinking, you know, why am I sketching with blue? Why don't I just go in directly with the brown? Well, the reason why is because blue is lighter, it's easier to cover, and it creates an interesting undercoat. So you can use any color for this. So you always want to sketch using paint. Don't sketch using pencil. Stretch that out. You may be thinking, oh, she's missing something, because I absolutely am. These houses in the back, and everything else is in kind of shades of brown. So there's bushes over here, a set of bushes over here, and these things are mostly just kind of in brown. You can draw out some individual trees in the distance if you would like. And in the front, you can sketch out some weeds or some things, just a couple of things happening in the grass. like that. Just remember, whatever you sketch on the bank, it needs to be the same, paralleled in the water. You can use blue, you can use whatever color you want. Okay, so after this, I get to finally mix up my brown. There's some stuff in the water over here that I'm just gonna start sketching out. I need a dry brush. Some stuff in the front as well. There's a tree probably here. So this concept can be applied with any color. You can use any color for underpaintings. You can use red, purple. So now I'm going to mix the actual brown. So it looks like it'll be brown and a bit of red. You can also use, I think, you could also use gray, but brown would be the best. Believe it or not, we are almost done. So I'm gonna go ahead, mix up this brown. Again, I want different shades of it. Mix, mix, mix. So I don't want one homogeneous color. I actually want different shades of the same color. And then I'll add some white so that it creates this sort of tan color, which will be then my base for making all this stuff in the background. So all of this stuff is this tan color. And you only need a little bit of it. So instead of thinking of these things in the back as objects, just think of them as a line plus a couple of dots here and there. They're so far back that you can't really see what they are. And then I'm gonna take some of my dark brown, can throw some of that in. And then I can blend it using my dry brush. So this just kind of tells viewers, there's something there. We don't really know what, but there's stuff in the background. And you may need some white just scattered in there. So it's not like a big black brown chunk. You can experiment with buildings. You can try putting this building in there. Give it a little brown roof. So you can give that a try if you want. You can leave it out. And then same over here. So we have our brown because we have to start drawing this out. So I'm actually, for the areas at the top, I'm not just making a big brown blob, I'm just going in and drawing the texture of the trees. So I'm drawing some of those textures in there. And I know there's some stuff very back here. And this one is brown trunk. You see my blue is still there. I haven't completely covered my blue. I don't want to cover my blue. And all of this. Put this over here. This undercoat is so much fun. You just want to slowly fill in some of these areas. Try not to overdo it with this tan color, just because it is a little bit jarring. And you could also, if you're looking at this tan color and you're like, I don't really like that. I don't really know. I don't really know how I feel about that. You can just make this, instead of use tan, you can just use different shades of green, just like the grass down here. And then I'm gonna go in with dark color to make these areas. So if you're trying the brown and you're thinking, I really don't like this, then wait till it dries and then go in with green. And remember, it's not just a blob. There's some details, some texture that you'll have to draw in. And then of course, don't forget that there's stuff in the water as well. So whatever you have up there, just reflect it. Try to reflect it the best you can in the water. I think I will actually go in with green because this brown looks a little unfinished to me. So I think I will go in right now and fill some of these areas in with green. This looks like all my leaves are dead. Okay. Okay, yay for green. Let's see how that turns out. So gonna go in, make some of these a little greener. Yeah, I think that's nicer. It makes the whole thing a little more lively. Okay. Same with this over here. I like the green. This is so much nicer. Sometimes you got to try different things until you find something that works. And then over here, I'll add a bit of green too. We're changing the seasons here. This is fall, but now it is midsummer, almost fall. And then we don't have a whole lot of time today, but you can add leaves to your tree. You can keep it. You can keep it without leaves. I'm just gonna go ahead and make this trunk even darker. With brown. So it's too light. This trunk darker. The best way to add leaves is to use a fan brush, which not everybody has. So I think the second best way is to take a really dry, gross, old brush and get some paint on it, and you kind of just tap at it. The drier, the more the bristles are kind of falling out, the better this tends to work. So you want to keep it really dry. So if you want to add leaves, that's one way to do it. Or you could just leave your trees pretty leafless.
Thank you, Jeannie. Well, I have to leave for singing, so bye.
Oh, have fun. Bye, Elaine. We're pretty much almost done. So if anybody else has singing at the church today. If anybody's interested, there is singing at the church. I think they're rehearsing Christmas carols right now.
It's not at the church, Junie, it's at my house.
Oh, it's at your house? Okay, just kidding. It's at May's house. Sometimes it's at the church.
You know, we should look into buying brushes for everybody.
Yeah, we should.
So if you see something on Amazon or even at Inglewood that's not too expensive, let's buy a whole bunch and then we can all share that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so this is the second best way to do it. But if you have a fan brush, that would be ideal. So I don't know where my fan brushes all went. Oh, here's one. This one's kind of gross though. They look like this.
Mm.
These work better. Then you don't get this super blurry looking effect. Instead, you get lines like leaves. But this one's super hard to work with because it's really dry. So just want to show you. I don't think this one's quite there yet. I think it needs more work to get to its full potential, but it's almost there. So if you're working on this right now, just keep going at it. I think this type of piece only looks better if you add more foliage, like you add more texture. There's never too much. This brush is so dry. Okay, so I think this one's mostly done for today. There's definitely a lot more that can be added, but I might revisit it when I have more creative juice.
This is so nice, Junyi.
Oh, thanks. So I mainly wanted to do this one just to show everybody how to set up a super basic landscape. The tree looks kind of goofy, so don't look at that.
Let me take the picture first. Don't laugh.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's nice
Let's
to
see
be
your
back.
pictures. Let's see your pictures.